Hey guys, my name is Heinsch. I'm a licensed associate marriage and family therapist at Belgian Psychological Services. Some of you know me as you may be my clients. Others of you have maybe just seen me around the office when you've done some other service at Belgian. And I want to just take this opportunity to provide everyone with a free and easy resource on different topics, especially topics that are coming up in a lot of my telehealth sessions. I want to disclaim that these webinars are a resource. They're not a replacement of any types of therapy services. They're recommendations, they're educations. They're definitely not a catch-all for all families. So please just kind of keep that in mind when you're making a decision whether or not you want to adapt some of these principles that I might be talking about. And so one of the principles I really want to talk about today is how scheduled should kids be during this time. I know it's really overwhelming to have all of your kids home. Some of kids are doing online learning. Other kids are getting packets sent home. Some are doing kind of a hybrid type situation. And many of the families that we work with already struggle with kind of the E2 challenges or gifted challenges or learning disabilities. And I think that the mainstream population is putting out a lot of information on how to schedule and things to do and not to do, but that doesn't take into account kind of these special pieces that your family might have. And so a lot of what I've been talking to families about regarding schedules is your schedule should fit your family. What I will say is if your schedule is going to cause more tension and more conflict in the family, then your schedule should probably be a little more flexible. I think it's important to get your kids involved in that discussion, age appropriately. Teenagers can really voice what they want to need around the schedules, obviously within reason in your parenting structure. Little kids might need a little more guidance, but this is new for them too, and it's important that they have some type of voice. It doesn't mean that they get what they want, but it does mean that they get to participate in the decision making in some capacity. And so a lot of what I've been talking to families about is understand what your core values are as a family. What is it during this time that you really hope as a parent that your kid's going to get out of the day? And so if for your kiddo who has ADHD, it's really important that they have structure and repetition, that's wonderful. And if structure and repetition causes a lot of conflict in your house, then pick periods of time that you can really enforce structure and repetition and allow for what I call wiggle time. So giving them blocks in the day where it's unstructured, there isn't a lot of repetition, that they're not hearing the word, no, don't do that, or go sit here, do this, you have this homework packet, you didn't finish that. You know, home is supposed to be their safe place, and school is where they have to like focus and pay attention. So in that, also creating a space for them, and this is for any kid, not just a kid with struggles with ADHD, creating a space for them that's school-like so that when they're in that area, they're focused on school. However, I have some kids that might really push back on this. And so for those kids, the parents really asking the kids, like, what is it that you want your space to look like for school? And letting them maybe create their space a little bit. So coming back to core values, a lot of families are telling me that they want to have family time and they connect, and they want to make sure that they have school time. And that happens. Life skills, chores, this is a great time to get those kids involved in life skills and chores, but not crazy amounts of lists. Meal times are really important to some families, not to other families. So I think it's important for families to pick no more than 5 things that they want their kids to fulfill maybe in a school week and or a day. So, you know, for some families, they want to create a whole list of chores that just need to get done in that week. That's great. That's fine if that works for your family. Other families are very adamant that there are daily life skills that get done every day. So having said that, telling your kids, these are our core values and this is what is important for us during this time, is that we can manage this. So a really good example of that is it's really important to us that our kids still get up and get ready for the day. Just learning basic everyday life skills. Great. So get up and get ready for a day by a certain time, right? Giving them some flexibility to be able to do that. And if it's not done by that time, consequences or those types of things we can talk about in other sessions. Then sitting down and doing X amount of hours of school. Okay, great. And then that's over. So for some families, they require that school gets done from 9 to 12. Awesome. But for other families, they might have kids that self-initiate a little bit more, and they could maybe do homework between the hours of 3 and 6, which might not be good for other kids. I think that it is important to clarify what you want. Sit your kids down and say, this is our structure. If having a routine that's get up at 7, do this at 8, do this at 10, do this at 11, do this at 12, it's not something I'm really recommending for my families, because that requires a lot of extra work on the parents, and that requires a lot of redirecting. Do this, now do this. If there's a little more flexibility between the 8 hours of 8 and 12, these things need to get done. It requires a little less direction from parents and a little more initiative on the kids. Parents, your lives don't stop, unfortunately. So you still have all of the normal things that you do. Maybe you're going to work, or maybe you have all of the house things that you need to do. And so by feeling like you have to hover over your kids to keep them on schedule like they would in a classroom really takes away from the quality of the relationship and is only going to increase more stress for you. So I really recommend thinking about and processing through blocks of times versus hour by hour by hour. Now, this works really well in some families, and I'm not saying that that is not an appropriate thing. I just think that if your family already has conflict around schedules and getting them to engage or initiate in things, you may want to think about a little more flexibility. Again, if we're talking about 12 and up, kids at this time should be practicing self-initiating, so that's going to be a little bit easier. They can find things to fill their time. And if we're talking about kids 12 and younger, they definitely need more guidance. They're going to need some more redirection, and they're definitely going to need some visual cues about what part of their day that they're in, especially if we're dealing with a kid that has a learning disability and or an executive deficit. That's going to be really important for them because they rely on that every day at school. So this really just comes back as this, guys, this is a really good time for you to come together as a family and focus really on connecting. We're hoping that this is going to be a short period of time. You know, if they get off track or don't do all their academics or aren't doing very well, that's okay. They'll have time to catch up. You know, teachers hopefully are going to be really flexible with that. What we know about children is that they learn through play. They learn through interacting and touch. So if they don't get the packet done, cool, great. I have a lot of moms and dads coming to me with really cool ideas of other ways that they're engaging them. Like, let your kids stand on their head and practice their spelling words. Let them draw, let them go into the backyard, just really allowing them to engage in things, you know, boys, letting them be on their skateboard and like skating back and forth and then coming and answering a question. Zoom is really being utilized also. So parents are like, oh, I don't want to keep them on track, scheduling in some social academic learning. So me and say my friend Samantha are on video with each other and we're doing the same packet. And so, yeah, we might be chatting a little bit, but we also then might be talking about this question or reading things back and forth to each other. So having peers help hold each other accountable too can be really helpful for parents. And this can be part of the schedule. Like if social interaction is really important to your family values, then using apps like WhatsApp or Zoom, I think House Party is still a good one. Facebook now offers groups. These types of virtual things you can schedule into their schedule as a way also to give parents a reprieve from all of this. So I know that this is a lot of information, and my hope is that you can come away with this is manage your schedules around your family values and trying to not have more than 5 family value type requirements. And if you have questions about this, I'm happy to talk a little bit more about this. And trying to find a way for kids 12 and up to kind of initiate on their own and giving them some ideas, but some ability to play in their schedule and giving them a voice. And 12 and under, just asking them more about their space and what they want and how they feel like they're going to be focused and attentive during school hours. And then, we've got some introverts and we got some extroverts. So for the extroverts, having those kids really schedule social interactions is going to be really important for their emotional health during this time. The introverts, let them be introverted. Maybe not all day, but if you have a kiddo that's introverted and they want to go hide out in their room, they're going to need that. There's a lot of extra stimuli. So part of the family value may be, hey, we all have quiet time. We all have what I call off the clock time. Off the clock time is really important for parents, really important for kids that are introverted. They need to know when they're off the clock, because when they are at home with you guys, they're going to feel like they're on all of the time. So I really hope that some of these tips have been helpful. Hopefully it hasn't been confusing. This whole webinar thing is really new to me. And I'm happy to, again, provide any further types of guidance with this. If you aren't my client and you're just looking for more information and want to kind of do a live session, 15, 20 minutes to get some ideas, I'm happy to do that. If you are one of my clients and you're like, hey, I don't want to do a whole session, but I'm really feeling lost, I'm feeling stuck here, shoot me an email and we can get something set up as a modified type thing. For those of you that are still doing sessions, I'll continue addressing your concerns and talking about this. I'm going to do some more webinars around anxieties and how to manage that. I'm going to, as questions come up in my telehealth sessions, I will continue providing that kind of information to you guys. So you can email me at c.heinsch, which is HEINSCH, at Beljan, BELJAN, psych.com. Feel free to call the office. Charity is also working remotely. She can get you in contact with me as well. And then I look forward to seeing and talking with all of you and helping support you in this strange time that we live in. Thank you.